As someone you cherish started reacting differently to sounds they once found comforting, perhaps a subtle flinch at the television, or a sudden discomfort with everyday noises. These aren't just minor quirks. Many families assume such complaints are simply part of getting older, or just a moment of grumpiness. They might brush off comments about noise or retreat from social situations, dismissing them as trivial. But the truth is, these seemingly small shifts often serve as quiet warnings. It's only later, looking back, that families realize the clues were there all along, but by then, precious opportunities to understand and adapt are often lost. Imagine familiar sounds, the gentle hum of the refrigerator, family chatter, or a ringing doorbell, transforming into sources of genuine distress. For an elderly person, their world can become a cacophony, leading to anxiety, frustration, or a profound need to withdraw. This silent suffering is often misinterpreted as disinterest or even stubbornness, creating a painful chasm of misunderstanding between loved ones and their caregivers. The agitation is real, even if unspoken. In this video, we're going to talk about 3 key signs that often appear when familiar sounds become overwhelming in an elderly person's final year. Recognizing these quiet warnings early gives you the opportunity to provide better comfort, cherish meaningful moments, and most importantly, ensure that your loved one's final stage of life is filled with understanding, dignity, and peace. Stay with us until the end, because these insights can help you prepare emotionally and practically for what's ahead. Let's get started. One of the earliest, yet most perplexing signs that a person may be undergoing a significant sensory shift is a sudden and extreme sensitivity to sounds that once seemed entirely normal. You might notice that a loved one who previously enjoyed the lively chatter of a family dinner now flinches at the clatter of dishes or complains about the television volume, even when it's set lower than usual. The gentle hum of the refrigerator, the distant rumble of traffic, or even the soft rustle of a newspaper can become sources of unexpected distress. It's as if a whisper now registers as a shout, transforming the comforting backdrop of everyday life into a jarring, overwhelming cacophony. This isn't merely a preference for quiet, it's a profound change in how their auditory world is perceived, a subtle warning that the body is beginning to process its environment differently. This heightened sensitivity, often misinterpreted as irritability or fussiness, has a tangible physiological basis. As the body nears its final stages, the brain's ability to filter and modulate sensory input can diminish. Think of the brain as a sophisticated sound engineer, constantly balancing and adjusting the volume of the world around us. In decline, this intricate wiring can start to fray. Neurological shifts may occur, affecting the auditory cortex and other brain regions responsible for processing sound. What was once a smooth, integrated perception becomes a raw, unfiltered barrage. The brain, already conserving energy, struggles to dampen external stimuli, leading to an amplified experience of even minor noises. This isn't a conscious choice, it's a fundamental change in the body's internal processing, leaving an individual vulnerable to sensory overload. The emotional and behavioral consequences of this sensory overload can be profound and heartbreaking. Imagine living in a world where every normal sound feels amplified, where gentle background noise becomes a constant, irritating roar. This persistent assault on the senses can lead to increased irritability, a deep sense of anxiety, and even physical discomfort or pain. A loved one might become agitated quickly, lash out unexpectedly, or simply retreat into themselves, seeking refuge from the overwhelming environment. They may avoid social gatherings or even simple conversations, not out of disinterest, but because the effort to endure the noise becomes too taxing. This often leads to feelings of being misunderstood, further deepening their isolation as caregivers mistakenly attribute their reactions to grumpiness rather than a genuine physiological struggle. Understanding this heightened sensitivity empowers families to create a sanctuary of quiet and comfort. Small adjustments can make a significant difference. Consider reducing unnecessary background noise by turning off unused televisions or radios. Soft furnishings, like rugs and heavy curtains, can absorb sound and create a calmer atmosphere. Designate a quiet space in the home, where your loved one can retreat when feeling overwhelmed, a room with soft lighting and minimal distractions. When communicating, remember to speak softly and clearly, avoiding sudden loud noises or rapid speech. Every effort to reduce the auditory burden helps to preserve their remaining energy and ease their anxiety. These compassionate actions foster an environment of peace, allowing them to feel safe and respected in their changing world. It is crucial to remember that this heightened sensitivity is not a sign of fussiness or a deliberate attempt to be difficult. It is a very real physiological change occurring within their body and brain. Forcing them to endure loud environments or dismissing their complaints will only increase their distress and hasten their withdrawal. Instead, approach these moments with empathy and patience. Validate their experience by acknowledging that sounds might be bothering them. Focus on providing comfort and understanding, even if you cannot fully comprehend the intensity of their sensory experience. This shift from expecting them to adapt to your world to adapting your world to them is a powerful act of love and dignity. It allows them to feel seen, heard, and supported, even when the world around them feels overwhelming. So if you notice your loved one reacting strongly to everyday sounds, becoming easily agitated by noise, or seeking out quiet spaces more often, pay close attention. This isn't just a minor change. It's a key indicator that their sensory perception is shifting. Recognizing this first sign, the roar of the mundane, is the initial step toward providing better comfort and ensuring their final stage of life is filled with the peace they deserve. It's about listening to the quiet warnings their body is sending and responding with understanding. Let this insight guide your actions. Now, let's move forward to number 2. Now, let's explore a second, subtle yet profound shift. When the world around your loved one starts to sound like a muddled symphony, rather than a clear conversation. Have you ever noticed an elderly person struggling to follow a conversation at a family gathering, even when they're sitting right there? Or perhaps they miss instructions that seem perfectly clear to everyone else. This isn't just a matter of hearing loss. It's a deeper challenge with processing complex auditory information. In environments with multiple sounds, the television, background chatter, dishes clanking in the kitchen, their ability to differentiate and focus on specific voices begins to falter. What was once a lively, comforting buzz of activity can become an overwhelming, indecipherable wall of noise. This often leaves them looking confused, or perhaps even disengaged, even as they try to lean in and understand. It's as if voices blur into an indistinguishable noise, making meaningful interaction increasingly difficult. This difficulty isn't a deliberate choice, nor is it simply a lack of attention. It signals a significant change in the brain's ability to manage and interpret sound. As the body prepares for its final stages, cognitive decline affects the very mechanisms responsible for auditory processing. The brain, which once effortlessly filtered out background noise to prioritize a conversation, now struggles. Its internal filters begin to fade, unable to sort the important from the irrelevant. This often means a slower processing speed for all incoming information and a reduction in working memory, the brain's temporary holding space for what it just heard. Consequently, what sounds like a normal, layered auditory environment to most can feel like a cacophony to someone experiencing this shift, making it nearly impossible to keep up with the flow of a multi-person discussion or understand rapid speech. The emotional and social cost of this processing difficulty can be heartbreaking. Imagine sitting among loved ones, desperate to participate, but feeling increasingly lost as the words swirl around you, blurring into an incomprehensible din. This can lead to profound feelings of embarrassment, frustration, or a painful sense of being left out. An elderly individual who once cherished social gatherings might begin to actively avoid them, not out of disinterest, but because the effort required to simply exist in such an environment becomes too exhausting, too overwhelming. This withdrawal often leads to increased isolation, as the person retreats into quieter, more predictable spaces where they don't have to constantly battle the muddled symphony of everyday life. For families, watching this loss of connection can be deeply sorrowful. often misinterpreting it as apathy or a desire to be alone, when in reality, it's a cry for a simpler, clearer world. But there are strategies that can help create clearer connections and ease this burden. Understanding that the brain's processing has changed is the first step. When you need to communicate, seek out quiet settings where background noise is minimal. Approach your loved one directly, ensuring you have their attention, and speak in clear, simple sentences, one thought at a time. It can be incredibly helpful to communicate one-on-one, rather than expecting them to follow a group conversation. Allow ample time for them to process what you've said and to formulate their response. Don't rush them. Patience becomes your most valuable tool. Consider using visual cues or gentle gestures to support your words. By adapting your communication style, you can bridge the gap created by these processing difficulties, making interactions more meaningful and less stressful for everyone. It's important to remember that this isn't about demanding they try harder to keep up. Their brain is undergoing a significant transition, and forcing engagement in overwhelming situations only creates more distress. Instead, the focus pivots from trying to fix the problem to providing compassionate understanding and adapting to their changing needs. What matters most is your presence and the peace you can offer. Even if conversations are shorter or less complex, the warmth of your company, a gentle touch, or a shared quiet moment can communicate love more profoundly than any words. Prioritizing comfort and peace over perfect conversation allows your loved one to feel valued and understood, even when their ability to process the world around them has begun to fade. Love, in its purest form, often transcends language and is felt in the quiet spaces between words. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 inches below to let me know you're here and engaged with this important topic. Your feedback helps us understand what truly resonates with you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Your support helps us continue creating content designed to inform and inspire you on this journey of life. Now let's move forward to our third and final sign. As a person approaches the final stage of life, one of the most noticeable shifts can be a profound withdrawal from the world around them. You might observe a loved one who once enjoyed lively gatherings or active participation now seeking out quiet, solitary spaces. They may spend increasing amounts of time alone, perhaps simply sitting in silence, looking out a window, or resting with their eyes closed. This isn't merely a preference for peace. It's a significant behavioral change that reflects a deep struggle with their environment. Interest in activities they once cherished, engaging in conversations, or even basic interactions can diminish significantly. This quiet retreat is often a coping mechanism, a way their body and mind manage an overwhelming sensory world. This profound withdrawal is not a sign of disinterest or apathy. It is often the direct result of the sheer exhaustion of perception. Imagine your brain as a battery, constantly expending energy to process every sound, every light, every sensation. As the body begins its final decline, this battery runs low. The brain expends immense energy, attempting to filter and understand the constant influx of sensory information. What once felt like a normal level of input now requires an extraordinary effort to decipher. This constant mental exertion becomes profoundly draining. Withdrawal, in this context, becomes a protective mechanism, a way for the body to shield itself from further exhaustion, conserving its dwindling energy reserves against a world that has become too much to bear. For the individual experiencing this level of withdrawal, their internal world can be one of vulnerability, anxiety, and an intense desire for peace. They are not giving up on life or on their loved ones. Instead, they are desperately seeking comfort and a sense of control over an environment that often feels chaotic and overstimulating. The effort required to simply exist in a busy room, to follow a conversation, or even to acknowledge a visitor can feel monumental. This retreat is their silent language, communicating an urgent need for serenity. It's a quest for an internal quiet, a sanctuary where their senses are not constantly assaulted, allowing them a measure of dignity and calm in their final journey. Understanding this reframes their behavior from a source of frustration to a call for profound empathy. Recognizing this silent call allows families to cultivate spaces of serenity, creating an environment that supports comfort and peace. This means actively minimizing unnecessary stimulation, dimming bright lights, ensuring soft, natural sounds rather than loud televisions or radios, and reducing clutter that can add to visual overload. Establishing predictable, gentle routines can also provide a sense of safety and control. Most importantly, it involves respecting their need for quiet and personal space, understanding that their withdrawal is not a rejection, but a necessity. Providing a designated quiet room, offering soft blankets, or simply ensuring a calm, unhurried atmosphere can significantly reduce their stress and enhance their well-being. In these moments, the most powerful gift you can offer is the dignity of quiet presence. It is important to remember that love and comfort can still be profoundly felt, even without words or extensive interaction. A gentle touch on the hand, a peaceful smile, or simply sitting quietly nearby can convey immense reassurance and connection. Prioritizing peaceful presence over forced engagement allows your loved one to feel valued, understood, and safe, without the pressure to perform or engage in ways that exhaust them. This shifts the focus from what they can no longer do to the deep, unwavering love that still exists, honoring their current needs and ensuring their final stages of life are filled with profound peace. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 3 inches below to let me know you're here. Your engagement truly helps us understand what content resonates most with you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you on this important journey of understanding and care. Now, let's move forward to our final thoughts. As we come to the end of our journey through the shifting world of sound, take a moment to reflect on what we've discussed. It is never easy to confront the changes that come with life's final stages, especially when they touch something as fundamental as how we perceive the world around us. Yet, these subtle transformations, when familiar sounds suddenly become overwhelming, are a natural, if often unseen, part of this profound transition. They are not a sign of resistance or stubbornness, but rather the body and mind adapting in ways we are only just beginning to truly understand. We began by recognizing the first sign, the roar of the mundane. This is when everyday noises, from the gentle hum of a refrigerator to a family conversation, transform into sources of distress. We learned that this heightened sensitivity isn't a choice, but a complex shift in how the brain processes auditory input, losing its natural filters. Understanding this empowers us to adapt the environment, creating quiet sanctuaries and speaking with gentle awareness, offering comfort where once there was only confusion. Then, we explored the second sign, the muddled symphony. This is the struggle to differentiate and understand multiple sounds at once, turning a lively gathering into an overwhelming cacophony. We saw how the brain's ability to filter and prioritize information can diminish, making coherent conversation a daunting task. By simplifying communication, speaking clearly, and offering one-on-one interactions in calm settings, we can bridge this gap, ensuring that connection and understanding remain, even when the world's symphony becomes less clear. Finally, we delved into the third sign, the quiet retreat. This is the profound withdrawal from stimulating environments and social interactions, a preference for solitude and peace. We understood this not as apathy, but as a protective mechanism, a way for the body and mind to conserve energy and find solace when the effort of perception becomes too great. Our role then shifts to honoring this need for quiet, offering a peaceful, predictable presence that speaks volumes without a single word. Understanding these signs isn't about fearing death or the changes that accompany it. It is, instead, about the power of preparedness and the profound gift of informed compassion. When you recognize these subtle shifts, you gain the opportunity to provide better care, to adapt environments with kindness, and to cherish meaningful moments with deeper intention. This knowledge allows you to ensure that your loved one's final stage of life is filled not with frustration or misunderstanding, but with comfort, dignity, and a profound sense of peace. This is a time for cherishing quiet moments, for sharing stories in gentle tones, and for simply being present. It is in these moments, free from the pressure of forced engagement or overwhelming noise, that love speaks its most profound language. Offer a gentle touch, a comforting gaze, or simply sit in companionable silence. Let them know they are valued, understood, and not alone. For in the end, what truly matters isn't how much they can do, but that they feel loved, accepted, and at ease in the world you create for them. If you're noticing these signs in someone close to you, please remember, you are not alone in this journey. Many families have walked this path before, and while it is never easy, knowing what to expect can help you find strength, patience, and peace. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us and to others navigating similar challenges. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement to continue our mission. If you found this video helpful and insightful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you and your loved ones every day. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.